Hi again and welcome to Politics Today with Dr. James Ugogo. We'll be continuing our reading of the Labour Party Manifesto, Our Pact with Nigeria. We're going to be doing 3 and 4 tonight. So let's go into it right away. Restructure the polity through effective legal and institutional reforms to entrench the rule of law, aggressively fight corruption, reduce cost of governance, and establish an honest and effective civil service. To achieve this, 1. We shall strengthen our federalism by critically reviewing the 68 items on the exclusive list of the federal government and moving many items to the concurrent list to ensure effective public action for growth and sustainable livelihood. Our drive towards restructuring of the Federation shall follow a determined functional approach for efficiency, productivity, sustainability, and equity for a balanced national development, where no component of the Federation shall feel shortchanged. We realize that nothing can be achieved in this area except we achieve a consensus. We understand that it is the responsibility of the leadership to help to stimulate and attain a genuine and long lasting consensus on such matters. 2. Our determination to reduce cost of governance in Nigeria will start with the immediate implementation of the Orasanya report, which recommended the consolidation of agencies of government. This will be our top priority within the first year of our administration. We will review the recommendations of that report while engaging with industry players to design the implementation of the proposed reforms. While we are focused on cost reduction and streamlining of government operations for efficiency and effectiveness, we will ensure that the implementation of the reforms is pursued in a way that protects the livelihood of our hardworking and efficient civil servants. 3. Pursue robust and aggressive reforms of our paramilitary agencies with a view to improving their synergy and functional effectiveness. Key recommendations of all previous reports on police and security sector reforms will be implemented. For instance, the three-level policing, local, state, and federal, will be promptly pursued with detailed guidelines to check abuse. 4. Strengthen the Supreme Court of the Federation by increasing the number of judges and equipping them with the capacity to clear the backlog of cases and enhance the speedy adjudication of cases. Restructure the polity through effective legal and institutional reforms to entrench the rule of law, aggressively fight corruption, reduce cost of governance, and establish an honest and effective civil service. Just reiterating that section. 5. Review all the regulatory agencies of Nigeria with a plan to gradually move away from a bureaucratic approach to incentive-based regulation that is based on cost-benefit analysis. In this regard, we will establish the Office of Regulatory Review in the Executive Office of the President to review and harmonize proposed regulations to ensure they pass cost-benefit analysis and enhance economic efficiency and social justice before they are enacted. 6. Pursue more inclusive of our customary laws, norms, and values with respect to their compatibility with our Constitution in the contents of our formal law and in the administration of justice. For instance, reforms will be pursued for our traditional laws/rulers to be properly integrated into the formal legal governance/governance system. 7. Pursue aggressive digitization of all judiciary, government and regulatory agencies to curb corruption and improve governance outcomes and service delivery. 8. Establish the Office of Special Counsel to investigate and prosecute every executive abuse of power and corrupt public practices that do not fall under the prosecutorial power of existing agencies or are bureaucratically concealed. We will seek constitutional amendment to exempt prosecution by the Special Counsel from the exercise of the power of nolle prosequi of the Attorney General of the Federation. 9. With a view of fixing and cleaning up our broken politics and to empower Nigerians to demand for political accountability, matters requiring legislative attention will be pursued to include: A. Speedy adjudication of cases. B. Digitization of all court processes. C. Allowing Nigerians in diaspora to vote. D. All election-related court cases to be concluded before swearing in. And E. Continuous reforms of our electoral processes. 10. We shall install a new budgeting system founded on the cardinal principles of public accountability, objective setting, and program implementation. This is against the extant budgetary principle of revenue mobilization, expenditure allocation, borrowing, and lending, without emphasis on monitoring, evaluation, and feedbacking. We will enforce the principle of performance auditing to enhance a greater fungibility of government deployment of resources for projects and policies, and institutionalize monitoring and evaluation of the entire public service delivery as the primary means of actualizing our vision of a new Nigeria. This reform will institutionalize the personal involvement of the President in setting budgetary objectives of MDAs and monitoring and evaluating the implementation process through the Office of Regulatory Review in the Executive Office of the President, while the members of the National Assembly control the discretion of the President in budgetary matters. Budget monitoring and evaluation capacity will be strengthened within the Presidency. Macroeconomic restructuring. 11. The following anomalies in the management of the macroeconomy have progressively plagued the Nigerian economy. A. The pursuit of multiple objectives by CBN, some of which appear to be in conflict with the bank's core mandate of controlling inflation and its declared objective of achieving a measure of exchange rate stability. B. The loss of fiscal viability by the federal government, as revenues are now consumed entirely by debt service, whilst the cost of the inflated petrol subsidy has risen to a level where it also threatens to consume the entire federal government revenue. C. The financing of excessive fiscal deficit through ways and means advances in excess of 22 trillion as of August 2022, i.e., a level well beyond the statutory limits set in the CBN Act, has helped fuel the spike in inflation rate to close to 20% per annum. D. Exchange rate stability has also become a mirage, as foreign exchange can only be accessed at the artificial official exchange rate by a handful of privileged persons and businesses, whilst the generality of Nigerians can only access forex via a pariah market in which the USD now attracts a 75 to 80% premium over the official rate. The multiple exchange rate regime that is in place, therefore, presents a huge arbitrage opportunity for a few privileged persons. E. The prevalence of repatriation risk and other supply side constraints have significantly dented investor confidence, whilst also encouraging capital flight. Against this backdrop, the priority of our administration will be to quickly restore fiscal viability by discontinuing unaffordable subsidies, which have left a black hole in the government finances. We will also seek a simplification of the exchange rate regime while seeking to also boost the supply side rather than continuing to concentrate exclusively on demand management. Our administration will only support measures which ensure a level playing field and are in line with global best practices. If the competitiveness of a sector is to be boosted, then that will be done via the enactment of transparent and specially targeted fiscal and trade policies designed to stimulate investment and growth. Revenue shortfalls and leakages, such as oil theft, will be dealt with decisively by holding persons in positions of authority fully accountable. Fiscal and monetary policy will therefore be properly coordinated with each developing conventional tools transparently instead of distorting markets to favor a few privileged persons. For the avoidance of doubt, we will be we would demand the transparent liberalization of the foreign exchange market and the dismantling of the opaque multiple exchange rate regime, which effectively subsidizes a few privileged persons whilst depriving government of badly needed revenues. When unaffordable subsidies are removed, some carefully calibrated transfers will be used to cushion any adverse impact on the economically weak. Alright, so I'm just going to pause here for a little while to um, digest this graph for everyone. So the red lines represent cash outlays, the black represents cash inflows, and the blue line represents net cash position. So from year 0 to year 10. Fiscal restructuring. 12. Governments at both federal and state levels are today plagued by the revenue crisis, where despite huge endowment of both human and material resources, they are unable to sustainably fund development or even pay salaries in some cases, with federation revenues currently contributing 65% of the total recurrent revenues of states, and the non-remittance by the NNPC to the Federation account this year due to ballooning fuel subsidy payments. Policy responses at both national and subnational levels have been severely constrained by the revenue crisis. There is now a consensus that our inability to achieve fiscal sustainability is chiefly driven by our fiscal regime, which is itself the product of our political structure that prioritizes sharing rather than making the pie. The result is a pervasive situation where neither the federal nor the states have strong incentive to maximize effort in growing the size of the pie for shared and inclusive prosperity. We will functionally redesign our fiscal architecture such that revenue mobilization and allocation will be bottom up, like most federations across the world. And the federal government will now rely on revenues from taxes collected by states to drive the right incentive for efficiency and optimal allocation of resources. This means restructuring the economic framework. It will allow the states to leverage their comparative advantage and contribute to national development, thus reducing states' dependence on the federation account to fund developmental projects and empower them to become net contributors to the national economy. We will drive good and effective governance to create a culture that influences the bureaucracy of government to support the private sector. We will instill a culture of full implementation of government policies and plans to incentivize the private sector and prevent activities that curtail the development of the society. The mechanism for accountability will be established with public ownership of information, strong bureaucracy, high trust in government, and the right societal culture among policymakers and citizens. This situation will allow for good governance through the pipeline of accountability. Long existing accountability institutions in Nigeria will be revitalized to meet the current realities threatening the country. We will reactivate and digitalize this all important institution to give responsible and accountable public financial management in governance. Our government will expand the country's tax net and base. The tax system and database will be harmonized across states, internal revenue services, and federal inland revenue services (FIRS). This move will improve tax compliance and efficiency in the country. In addition, the citizens will be educated and oriented towards achieving paying taxes as a contribution to the development of the country. We shall vigorously explore every legitimate means to reduce the incidence of tax evasion and improve voluntary tax compliance. Rather than creating multiple taxation, our focus will be on widening the tax net, which subsequently provides additional resources for states to embark on more projects. To achieve this, we will A. Empower the federal and state ministries of finance to harmonize taxes and the tax database. B. Authorize the Joint Tax Board (FIRS) and state IRS to identify all payable taxes and fees by companies and individuals. C. Consolidate all tax database into one centralized system. D. Determine the tax delineation, that is, which form of taxes is receivable by the state or federal government. E. Work with states and communities to effectively combat the nefarious activities of non-state actors and institutionalized brigandage, notorious for huge revenue leakages, ex- 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 expropriation, and exploitation, which undermine investment and development in the risk sector. Reducing the cost of governance is a necessary means to achieve fiscal sustainability, and therefore, we shall promptly review the recommendations of the Steve Orasanye Commission on the restructuring of the Federal Civil Service for implementation. Number 4. So this is the fourth priority. Leapfrog Nigeria into the fourth industrial revolution, 4IR, through the application of scientific and technological innovations to create a digital economy. Leapfrog Nigeria into the fourth industrial revolution, 4IR, through the application of scientific and technological innovations to create a digital economy. 1. Or I. I. Building on the gains of the agriculture-led manufacturing and export, we will pursue the development of capacities to leverage on the emerging disruptive digital technologies, automation, Internet of Things (IoT), artificial intelligence, robotics, virtual reality, blockchain technology, biotechnology, and data science, all of which are the heart of the fourth industrial revolution. II. While the 4IR thrusts us into a new dimension of competition, we appreciate that our economy is still grappling with the challenges of fully leveraging the technologies of the second industrial revolution, such as electricity and rail network, in a multimodal transportation system. while not losing sight of the new demands for competitiveness in the disruptive new technologies. We shall aggressively incentivize and facilitate investment to expand our power generation, transmission, and distribution. Being a cross-cutting sector, Nigerian transport system will be remodeled to play a more important role in our efforts towards achievement of Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs). We will benchmark progress across the five dimensions of sustainable transport access to mobility of individuals, goods, and for societies, affordability of transport for individuals, goods, and society, safety, security, and environmental impact of transport and on transport. III. We will prioritize a structured approach to developing the digital skills of our young population to give them the competitive advantage to receive offshore jobs in the new gig economy, while also improving the efficiency and productivity level of our economy. IV. We will incentivize the midstream segment of the petroleum sector by facilitating gas processing plants and privately owned small and medium scale boutique refineries, with a view of reducing importation of refined petroleum products and eliminating the petroleum subsidy regime, which has become a huge burden on the budget. V. Our government will pursue a combination of state led and public private initiatives to drive the penetration of broadband infrastructure and information superhighway necessary to empower smart industrialization. VI. We will ensure that the federal government offers meaningful incentive to corporate entities and industries that make discernible efforts to transit to clean and alternative energy, not only for local consumption but also for export. Our priority is the preservation of our environmental integrity, using a carrot and stick approach to ensure that industrial production and oil production do not damage our environment and livelihood systems. VII. We will review and enforce the mandatory national strategic revenue of premium motor spirit (PMS), diesel (AGO), aviation fuel, and cooking gas to reduce our national vulnerability to sudden disruptions to the supply of these fuels. VIII. We will strengthen the incentive regimes of new growth industries, in particular the culture and creative industry and the technology oriented industries. Trends in crude oil prices and GDP growth in Nigeria from 1975 to 2020. The source of this data is from World Development Indicators, World Bank, commonly price data. Road and rail quality in selected countries, 2016. Nigeria is bottom of the list. Rail is blue and orange is road. Nigeria is bottom of the list in all categories, where Malaysia, South Africa, Cote d'Ivoire, Kenya, Indonesia, Ghana are all leading. So of these seven countries here, Nigeria is the last. Source of this data is also World Economic Forum Global Competitiveness report from 2016 to 2017. X. We will prioritize the development of MSMEs or MSMEs through a boutique of incentives, which include new structures, new capital access, new legislation to support small business growth, and strategic centers of excellence for small businesses such as enterprise hubs, business incubators, and MSME industrial clusters across all the geopolitical zones. We will drive the expansion of Nigerian content initiative with emphasis on the promotion of made in Nigeria goods and services as a pillar of our administration. This will be accomplished by expanding the sources of Nigerian content legislation implemented in Nigeria's oil and gas sector to other sectors of the economy. Now, here you can see a picture of uh, P2B, Governor P2B, when he was a governor, distributing computers to students. And I think there's a Reverend Sister by his side, two Reverend Sisters, and then the students. I believe they got 30,000 computers for the students then. So this is the end of section 3 and 4. Tomorrow we're gonna go to 5 and 6, and then maybe we can do 5, 6, and 7. But we can see we'll do 5 and 6, and then maybe come back another time to finish up with number 7. All right. So thank you for listening, and thank you for watching. So please do share this video so that others can watch. Share, subscribe, like, comment. I'm trying to take my time to read through the Our Pact with Nigeria. This is the first time I'm reading them, so you can see sometimes there's some gaps when I'm trying to keep the pace or the momentum. But the good thing is I can go back and listen to it again and watch it again. And so for those of you that are busy like me, you might not have time to go reading it. I'm tasking myself to do this so I can also read and know what they have in that manifesto, so I can hold their feet to the fire. And if you're watching some other candidates, I think the moment this came out, you see them saying things like technology hubs and things like that, trying to use those terms because they've come across this manifesto trying to sound the same. Again, all of them are going to sound the same. There's nothing there that is totally new that nobody has heard of. They are all things that we've heard of. But who can we trust to deliver these things? We're gonna hold their feet to fire. So yesterday we've done 1 and 2. Today we've done 3 and 4. Remaining 3 more. So 5, 6, and 7. We'll take care of that in the next coming days, God willing. Let's see. Let's see what is inside this manifesto and how we can hold their feet, hold them accountable. These guys are interviewing to be stewards. We are their employers. We, the Nigerian people, we, the people, are the employers or potential employers. We're going to choose a pair of them, and they will be saddled with the responsibility to deliver on these promises. All right. So let's choose wisely, and that's why I need to know what they have inside. And I trust them based on what they have said. But now that they're in black and white, we can hold their feet to the fire and say, you said this. Look, it's written here. Your pictures all over the place, your signature all over the place. So there's nothing you cannot deny. You cannot say, oh, well, it wasn't me. You know, like some people say, it wasn't me. I wasn't the one that said it. It wasn't me. All right. So, yeah, let me bring it up. I think, yeah, this is it. If you go through, you can see they have their names, Obi slash Baba Ahmed Pact with Nigeria. So they can't say we didn't say that. They can see their pictures also all over the place, so they can't deny it. They won't say to us, it wasn't me, I wasn't the one that said it. No, they are the ones that said it. Right. So let's hold them accountable. Let's get familiar with what they are saying, and then we can hold them accountable and say, deliver on your promises. Nigeria can be better. A new Nigeria is possible. Believe me, a new Nigeria is possible. I mean, how bad can it get again? I think, the saying, he that is down needs fear no fall. Because once you're down, there's no other place to go. The only way to go is up. We are down. We are out. The only way for us to go is up. And if we're able to stand, we'll be outstanding. We're already down, we're already out. Once we stand, we'll be standing out or we'll be outstanding. Right. So let's make that push, that last push. That little you know, they say it's the hump that makes a chump a champ. So let's just that push. We're almost there. We have just a few more weeks to the election. February 2023 is the election month. I think February 23rd or 25th. I'm going to confirm and I'm going to put it in my next broadcast. But that day is going to be the day. We don't want to go through a runoff. We don't want to go through a court system. Let's just win this election outright. Landslide. Let's do like 95% to 5%. We'll give the rest of them 5% to share. We'll just take 95%. There are more silent obedience than you can think of, right? You remember there are so many Nicodemuses. Let me just say it that way. There are many Nicodemuses that are obedient. So you won't see them. They go at night. You won't see them. They don't want to speak up because people will come after them. Maybe they were part of the old order, but there are many more obedience than you can tell. When you see the crowd in the states, when you see the crowd in the gatherings, wherever the obedience show up, when you see the crowd, and these are not rented crowds, you might see a few people that are miscreants, part of the old order, thinking it's the same. The danger of the mixed multitude. You still see a few of them still retaining their old characteristics, but when you see the real obedience, they were self-motivated, right? Nobody, they are not incentivized by cash or bullion vans. They're incentivized by the hope that a new Nigeria is possible. That is all that is pushing them, right? So when you see these real obedience, they are not after short-term gains. They want to see Nigeria stand. So get your PVCs and please vote for Mama, Papa, and Pikin. Mama, Papa, and Pikin. There's another logo. I'm going to try to show it after this broadcast, after this Pact with Nigeria series. There's another logo where a political party was registered with Mama, Papa, Pikin, Pikin, Pikin. They have five people. They have five people. Mama, Papa, Pikin, and uncle and auntie. That's not the one we're looking for. We are voting Mama, Papa, and Pikin. Just three people. Three people. Mama, Papa, Pikin. We're not doing Mama, Papa, Pikin, Uncle, Auntie. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're going for whatever. Labour Party. It looks like people within a gear holding them together. That gear is our national unity holding us together. Let's not allow these miscreants who want to deceive us to keep on doing it. Amumu know too much. But these guys don't know the generation they are dealing with, right? So, anyways, thank you. Please like, share, subscribe, and vote. When the time comes to vote, vote.